All right, guys, why waste any time? And let's just get into talking about Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. So, Black Panther Wakanda Forever is the latest Marvel Cinematic Universe film. It is a sequel to Black Panther, and obviously, the film is dealing with the loss of T'Challa, who was played by Chadwick Boseman in the previous Black Panther film and in the MCU beforehand. And I think it was a very interesting choice to incorporate his death into the shared universe. I think I was actually one who thought maybe they could recast T'Challa and let that character live on and still honor Chadwick, in a very positive way. But I think by making this choice, you do set things up for some interesting decisions. Now, I'm going to say right off the bat, I don't think all those decisions worked 100%. Now, I think a lot of people are going to really be invested in this and really enjoy this. And hey, good for you, because I was invested in it too. There's a lot of stuff, like I said, that I like. I just don't think it landed for me. So this story is mainly about the grief of Queen Ramonda and Princess Shuri. And I think both of these actresses do a really good job. And I think actually Angela Bassett does a phenomenal job in this movie. A lot of Oscar buzz already for this, which is really cool to hear, especially coming from a comic book movie and even a Marvel movie. I don't think we've ever had an actor nominated from a Marvel movie for acting. So that should be really cool if that all comes out into fruition. And with Letitia Wright as Shuri, I've always thought of her as a great side character in the MCU, and making her kind of the lead in this was not a bad choice. I think it was an interesting and good choice, but I just don't know if it worked 100% for me. I'm sure for other people it will. It's a very hard thing to ask her to do in this, which is to carry this emotional arc of dealing with loss and grief and pain, and how you interpret that and how you externalize things. And like I said, it is like 80% there for me that they nailed the whole thing between her acting and how they wrote everything. It just, that other 20%, there's just times where I'm like, man, it just didn't work. And that's just a personal thing. I'm sure other people will tell me I'm wrong, and that's fine. I'm happy that people are connecting with this, and I think I even got emotional at several points during her performance. I don't think it's her greatest performance or a great performance, but it's solid and it works. And so that's some of the biggest criticisms I have for this. And as a whole, though, it is one of the best made Marvel movies they've done, just between cinematography, between just overall the acting of the people in this, and then the music. Oh my God, the music in this is absolutely awesome. There's several times I was like, I wish I could pull my phone out and hit Shazam and just figure out what this song is, but I'm sure it's all on the soundtrack, and I'm very excited to get some of that, because it's rare that I get a Marvel soundtrack. This is one I'm definitely going to get. Some other stuff in this story, though. There are several subplots that I think, well, several, I mean, there's a couple of subplots that probably could have been left out of this that would have made this a tighter film. And I don't want to say what those are, because you'll know when you see it. Essentially, one is setting up a Disney Plus series for the MCU, which is fine, but you take that element out, it doesn't change the movie at all, really. And then if you take this other element out, which I think is setting up another movie, it's a character that's been kind of weaving in and out of some of the latest projects. Again, not going to spoil anything because I had no idea they were in this movie. But that was also something I was like, you could take that out and it doesn't take anything away from this movie. And this movie is 2 hours and like 45 minutes. A little long. I felt it. I wasn't really bored, but there were times I was like, okay, wow, we're really kind of stretching this out a little bit. And I think it could have been a tighter, maybe down to about a 2.5. Like, cut about 15 minutes out of this, and I think it would have had a tighter, better product. But hey, it is what it is, and clearly they didn't think there was a lot of fat to be trimmed from this, and I think there was a little bit of fat that could have been trimmed from this. That's just me, in my opinion. But so the villain in this is Namor. So we get the Marvel introduction of Namor. And for those of you who don't know who Namor is in the comics, he's kind of like Marvel's Aquaman. And yeah, I hear you already. Aquaman is actually a copy of Namor. It's a whole thing. We won't get into it. But what I like about this Namor character is the acting is great by, I'm going to butcher his name, Tenoch, Huerta, Meha. I hope I said that right. I totally probably butchered his name, but he does really good in this. He's menacing. He's very sympathetic. He kind of plays all the different angles, which I think is interesting and sets him up to be, I think, a great foil in the MCU. He could be a really great presence going forward, and so I really enjoyed him. And I also appreciate how instead of making his culture and his people the Atlanteans, like Aquaman, they kind of changed it from the comic books to Talo'kan. So they're the Talo'kans or Talokans, however you pronounce that too. I think that whole thing was interesting, and incorporating like Central America, like Mayan imagery and stuff like that was really cool visually. And I think having that culture in there too adds to some great diversity we could have in the MCU. So all about that. Really cool seeing all that stuff. But yeah, so overall, guys, I think I'm going to give this a solid B. And while I said this was the best made film in recent Marvel, like it's the best looking. It's got all these great elements to it, but just on a story level, I don't think it landed as well as it could have. I think the subject material is there to be great, but I for whatever reason, they're just elements that just didn't completely land. They felt a little too forced, and maybe they didn't even lean into some of the emotional stuff as well as they could have. And I'm not, that's not a knock against Ryan Coogler as a director. I think Ryan Coogler is one of the best directors in the MCU. I think this was a great directed film. It's just, sometimes things just don't land, and they just didn't land for me the way I think they're going to land for other people. And that's fine. That's the beauty of film and the subjectivity of film. And I think this is going to be a big, big film that a lot of people are going to come back to and love. I've seen a lot of like 10 out of 10s and perfect scores on Twitter. And guys, I get it. You just saw it. The hype is real, and it's not bad. I like it a lot. Is it a top tier MCU film for me? Not really. It's not even as good as the first Black Panther. And I think the first Black Panther movie is pretty good. Again, not the greatest. I have some issues with that movie too, but I think culturally this is going to be another significant movie. And, I hope a lot of people go out and enjoy it, because why would you want a film to be bad? Nobody wants that. But this is actually a good film. I just don't know if I would go see this again in theaters. I had a friend ask me, like, are you going to go see it again? And I said, probably not. Like, I saw it once. I got what I needed out of it. And I just have no desire to go back and sit through it again. So as far as seeing it again, I don't know. Probably not. Unless a friend wants to go see it, then maybe I'll go. Definitely not gonna really turn around and rush out to see it again. But hey, it is what it is. What did you guys think? That is the most important thing. I been loving talking to people in the comments, getting a lot of great feedback and thoughts on people, different perspectives of the movie, because everybody's different, and that's why film is great, because you can get different perspectives on it. So what did you guys think? Leave your comments down below. I love talking to you guys. I try to interact with everybody who leaves a comment. It's so much fun for me, really. But also, if you guys could hit the thumbs up button, leave a like on the video, greatly appreciate it. It does help the video out. I'm telling you, it really does, especially from how my Weird Al video went. It helps. If you could hit the subscribe button, we've gotten a few subscribers since the last video, and it's been a lot of fun. Thank you so much. I'm very appreciative. And then the little bell notification to be notified whenever I drop new videos. I'm trying to get a little more frequent with it, and hopefully doing a little more than movie reviews in the future, but hey, time has been really hard to manage all that, so we'll see what happens. And until the next movie, guys, which I can't even think of what the next one is. I want to see the Fablemans next, but we'll see if that happens. But hopefully it won't be much longer before I get the next review out. And until next time, guys, I'll be seeing you.